The moment you hear these words, something inside you will shift. Because this message is not for everyone. It is not for the casual listener, not for the curious soul passing through, not for the heart that is undecided or unsure. No, this message is only for the chosen ones who feel a stirring deep within their spirit. You will know instantly if this is meant for you, because when God marks you, the voice that calls you pierces deeper than anything in this world. If your heart beats faster, if your mind suddenly sharpens, if your spirit feels pulled forward as though God Himself is summoning you, then understand, you are under a message designed only for those whom God has separated, elevated, and prepared for something far greater than what ordinary eyes can see. There are moments in life when God speaks not through signs, not through dreams, not through quiet whispers, but through a divine interruption. Something that seizes your attention and refuses to let you go. That is this moment. You are not hearing this by accident. You are hearing this because God has turned your steps, aligned your timing, and intentionally placed you here so you could receive a word meant to ignite you, strengthen you, and awaken what has been dormant inside you for far too long. God has chosen you, not because you were the most qualified, not because you were the loudest, and not because you fit the standards of the world, but because your spirit carries a signature only God can recognize. When God chooses someone, the world may overlook them, but heaven does not. There have been battles you have survived that others would have collapsed under. There were nights when your heart broke, but your spirit remained standing. There were moments when everything around you fell apart, and yet something within you refused to give up. That was not your strength. It was the mark of God on your life. God has been shaping you in silence, training you in hidden seasons, and preparing you in ways that even you did not fully understand. And now, God brings you into this moment, this message, because your time is shifting. What you carried alone is about to become the very testimony that lifts you higher. Listen closely. When God chooses you, He does not choose you for comfort. He chooses you for purpose. He chooses you to stand when others fall. He chooses you to walk through storms that were designed to break you, but instead build you. He chooses you to hold on to faith when logic collapses. The chosen ones walk paths that make no sense to the world, but perfect sense to God. You did not survive because you are lucky. You survived because God strengthened you. You did not endure because you are resilient. You endured because God upheld you. You did not rise because circumstances were favorable. You rose because God breathed on your journey. There is a weight that chosen ones carry, a weight of responsibility, of vision, of spiritual sensitivity. You feel deeply. You notice what others ignore. You sense shifts before they happen. You can walk into a room and pick up atmospheres without anyone saying a word. That is because God has sharpened your spirit. He has trained you in discernment, placed an inner radar inside you that detects what eyes cannot see. And sometimes this gift makes you feel different, isolated, or misunderstood. But hear this truth. Being misunderstood is often the first confirmation that God has set you apart. The world cannot understand what heaven has endorsed. You have been stretched. You have been challenged. You have been tested in ways that seemed almost unfair. But those tests were not punishments. They were preparation. God never places a chosen one on a battlefield without first strengthening their spirit. Every struggle you went through was building your endurance. Every disappointment was refining your focus. Every delay was shaping your timing. Every loss was strengthening your humility. And every betrayal was positioning your heart to rely on God alone. When God chooses someone, He strips away everything that would distract them from His purpose. You may have wondered why certain people disappeared from your life without explanation, why friendships dissolve, why help did not come from the places you expected, why certain doors suddenly closed. It was not misfortune, it was God's protection. Chosen ones are not allowed to be connected to every person or every situation. Some people were removed because they would have contaminated your spirit. Some doors closed because the blessing behind them was not meant for you. Some opportunities vanished because they would have lowered your calling. God isolates His chosen ones not to punish them, but to prepare them for something higher. And now God is signaling to you the time of your rising is nearing. The season you have been waiting for is shifting. You have been faithful in silence, and God is about to elevate you in ways that will make it clear that your hidden warfare was never in vain. But before that elevation comes, God delivers a message, a divine reminder that what He's about to release in your life is not random. It is intentional. It is strategic. It is appointed. And it is reserved for those whom God has chosen, those who have walked through fire and did not crumble, those who have cried tears that only God witnessed, those who kept their faith alive even when everything around them went dark. Hear this with all your spirit. Chosen ones do not belong to ordinary seasons. When God assigns you to a divine purpose, your life will always feel different. People around you may be satisfied with average, but something in you always hungers for more. Others can settle, but your spirit refuses to shrink. You feel a constant pull towards something higher. This restlessness is not a flaw, it is divine propulsion. God is pushing you, nudging you, pulling you toward the destiny He wrote for you long before you were born. That calling inside you is loud because heaven is calling your name. But understand, being chosen is not just a title. It is a journey that demands surrender. God will strip away your comfort zones. He will break the habits that weaken your spirit. He will expose the thoughts that limit your growth. He will confront the fears that keep you small. He will demand your trust in moments where you cannot see your next step. God does not choose the faint-hearted. He chooses those who are willing to walk by faith when logic fails, those willing to rise even after collapsing, those willing to carry themselves with dignity even when life feels unfair. You have carried battles silently. You have fought wars in your heart that no one knows about. You have wiped tears in private while still showing strength in public. You have encouraged others while you yourself were in need of encouragement, and God saw it all. Every hidden tear, every silent prayer, every moment you forced ourselves to keep going, none of it was wasted. God is not blind to your endurance. He is not indifferent to your pain. He is not distant from your struggle. You are chosen, and everything you went through was a piece of your divine preparation. There were times you asked, why me? Why the hardship? Why the loneliness? Why the betrayal? Why the closed doors? But the real question is not why you went through it. The real question is why you survived it. You survived because God shielded you. You survived because your purpose is greater than your pain. You survived because there is a story written in your spirit that must be fulfilled. Every chosen one carries a destiny, and destiny does not unfold in comfort. It unfolds in pressure, in growth, in breaking, in rising. And now you are stepping into a season where God is about to reveal why you went through everything you did. You will see the alignment of every setback. You will see the beauty behind every delay. You will understand the wisdom behind every closed door. You will witness how every struggle crafted your strength. You will see clearly that what felt like punishment was actually protection. What felt like loss was actually redirection. What felt like waiting was actually preparation. Chosen ones walk with a weight that others cannot comprehend. You feel responsible even when you are not obligated. You feel called even when you try to run. You feel pulled even when you are tired. You feel awakened even when you want to rest. That is because God has placed a mantle on your life that refuses to be ignored. You are not like everyone else. You are not wired like everyone else. Your spirit is built differently because your destiny is built differently. There is a shift happening in your life right now, an invisible T. Transition, where God is rearranging your path in ways that may feel uncomfortable but necessary. Some of you can feel that something major is coming. You may not see it yet, but your spirit senses it. You feel a push to grow, a push to release old habits, a push to leave certain people behind, a push to elevate your discipline, a push to strengthen your connection with God. That push is not random, it is divine momentum. God is preparing you for what your spirit already knows is coming. You have been tested mentally, spiritually, emotionally. You have been stretched to your limits. You have endured seasons that felt like they would break you, but every chosen one goes through a breaking before they enter their becoming. God breaks what is weak to strengthen what is divine. God removes what is temporary to reveal what is eternal. God silences your surroundings so you can hear His direction clearly. And right now, God is telling you, prepare yourself. You are stepping into what I created you for. Chosen ones do not walk normally. They walk with divine timing. You will see things accelerate in ways that do not make sense. Opportunities will begin to recognize you. People will be drawn to your presence. Doors will open without you knocking. Paths will clear without you fighting. Because when God decides to elevate a chosen one, nothing in existence can stand in the way. The same God who allowed you to be tested will be the God who lifts you publicly. But hear this truth with your whole being. Elevation requires transformation. God is calling you to rise in your mindset, rise in your discipline, rise in your faith, rise in your courage. You cannot carry old doubts into a new destiny. You cannot carry old wounds into a new season. You cannot carry old insecurities into a new assignment. God is cleansing your spirit, renewing your strength, sharpening your focus. This message is not meant to make you comfortable. It is meant to awaken you. You are chosen. That means your calling is non-negotiable. Your purpose is irreversible. Your destiny is unchangeable. You were designed for something divine. You were created with intention. Your existence carries a spiritual signature. You are not random. You are not accidental. You are a sign. When God chooses you, He does not simply place His hand on your life. He reshapes the very structure of your spirit. You begin to walk differently, think differently, perceive differently. You begin to sense that you no longer belong to the crowds you once blended into. You feel an inner separation, an invisible elevation, a quiet but undeniable distinction. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. God does not raise chosen ones to feel superior. He raises them so they may carry a greater weight of purpose. And when God elevates you, He also refines you. He removes layers of fear, strips away illusions, and strengthens every spiritual fiber within you, so that when your destiny arrives, you are equipped to handle it with unwavering certainty. There will always be moments when the chosen ones feel pressure that others do not feel. This is because God compresses them the way a sculptor presses clay before shaping it into something extraordinary. Pressure is not punishment, it is divine molding. When God applies pressure, He is squeezing out everything that cannot follow you into your purpose. He is removing the doubts that used to weaken you. He is eliminating the voices that once distracted you. He is silencing the noise that kept your spirit restless. Through every challenge, God is shaping a stronger, clearer M, or focused version of you. The chosen ones are not built in comfort, they are forged in intensity. You have felt this intensity in your own life. There were days when your spirit was stirred without knowing why. Days when you felt an urgency inside you that words could not explain. Days when it seemed as though God was calling you into solitude. Not because He was distancing Himself from you, but because He was inviting you closer. God draws His chosen ones into quiet places so they can hear Him clearly. The world speaks loudly, but God speaks powerfully. And in the silence, He reveals truths that only the chosen are prepared to receive. In the stillness, He awakens wisdom that cannot be learned from books or people. It comes directly from His guidance. Many of the thoughts you carry, the insights you perceive, the intuition that flows through you, these are not coincidences. These are spiritual signals. When God chooses a person, He heightens their inner senses. They begin to feel what others overlook. They begin to recognize what others ignore. They begin to discern what others are blind to. Your spirit becomes a receiver of divine warnings, divine directions, divine nudges. This is why you often sense when someone's intentions are not pure. This is why you feel an uneasiness when you are near certain environments. This is why your peace disappears when something is not aligned with God's will for you. It is because God has sharpened your spiritual perception. And with this heightened perception comes a deeper calling. God begins to challenge you to make choices that do not match the typical decisions of those around you. He will ask you to walk away from people who drain your spirit. He will ask you to release habits that weaken your purpose. He will ask you to rise above behaviors that no longer reflect who you are becoming. These instructions may feel difficult, but they are divine. When God chooses you, He does not negotiate with your comfort. He prioritizes your destiny. He will not allow you to remain in spaces that cannot hold the magnitude of the person He is shaping you into. This is why your journey often feels different. You may look around and see others moving easily through life, while you seem to face challenges more frequently. But understand this: the intensity of your battles is evidence of the greatness of your calling. God does not put heavy assignments on weak spirits. He strengthens His chosen ones through every trial because their future requires a level of resilience that cannot be developed any other way. What you have survived has not been random. Every trial was strategic. Every hardship was intentional. God was preparing your inner foundation for what He is about to build. And make no mistake, God is building something within you, something powerful, something unshakable, something that will cause your presence to shift atmospheres, your words to bring clarity, your decisions to carry weight. When God chooses someone, He expands their influence in ways that extend far beyond their current environment. You may not realize it now, but your life carries a spiritual ripple effect. People observe your strength even when you feel weak. They admire your consistency. Even when you feel uncertain, they draw comfort from your resilience. Even when they do not tell you, God is using your life like a silent testimony, shaping others through your example without you even knowing it. But the most powerful part of being chosen is this: God entrusts you with a future that others are not prepared to carry. He gives you arms that stretch beyond your understanding. He plants visions in your heart that seem too big for your hands to hold. You feel these visions pulling at you, calling you, refusing to let you settle. And you may wonder, why do I feel this burden? Why do I sense this weight? It is because your destiny is immense. And God is calling you to prepare yourself for what He is about to unleash. You are entering a season where God will begin to reveal the hidden meaning behind your past. You will begin to understand why certain things had to break before they could bless you. You will start to see why delays were necessary for your development. You will realize that what felt like the end was actually the planting of a new beginning. God is aligning your steps with precision, orchestrating your path with care, and preparing your environment for your arrival. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on divine schedule. There is a shift taking place in your spirit, a shift that signals transition. You may feel a restlessness inside you, a sensation that something new is coming. You may feel drawn toward change, even if you do not know what the change is. This is spiritual movement. God shifts the spirit before He shifts the surroundings. He prepares your heart before He changes your path. He awakens your awareness before He releases the blessing. You are sensing the vibration of a new season because God is guiding you toward the next chapter of your calling. But hear this with complete conviction. Entering a new season requires releasing the old. God will not elevate you into your next level while your hands are still holding on to the past. You must release the doubts that weaken you, the fears that bind you, the regrets that haunt you, and the limitations that once controlled you. You must step forward with a purified heart, a renewed mind, and a strengthened spirit. God is calling you to rise, not softly, not gradually, but powerfully. And when God calls you to rise, it is not optional. It is destiny speaking. It is purpose demanding to be fulfilled. You cannot shrink when God commands expansion. You cannot remain silent when God places truth in your mouth. You cannot sit still when God pushes you into motion. The chosen ones are activated by divine timing, and your activation is happening now. You may feel unqualified, but God qualifies those He chooses. You may feel unsure, but God stabilizes those He strengthens. You may feel overwhelmed, but God empowers those He appoints. Your uncertainty does not disqualify you. It humbles you so God can fill you. Your weakness does not limit you. It reminds you to draw strength from God alone. There comes a point in every chosen one's life when God shifts from preparing you privately to positioning you publicly. This transition does not happen suddenly, yet when it arrives, it feels like a divine turning of the tides. You begin to feel a surge of clarity, a rise of inner strength, a settling of identity within your spirit. You no longer question who you are. You no longer doubt the calling placed upon you. You no longer seek validation from the world because your confidence is anchored in the voice of God alone. This inner certainty is not arrogance. It is spiritual alignment. It is the quiet confidence that forms when God has spent years molding you, pruning you, and cleansing your spirit so that you can stand firm when destiny finally calls your name. Chosen ones carry a fire that does not extinguish. Even when life tries to break you, something inside you refuses to collapse. You may be, but you do not break. You may slow down, but you never stop. You may cry, but you never surrender. This unstoppable resilience is not something you learned. It is something God placed in your spiritual DNA before you were even aware of your purpose. God invests His strength into His chosen ones because their journey requires a level of endurance that cannot be borrowed from the world. Your strength is not ordinary, it is God-given. Your persistence is not random, it is God-sustained. Your survival is not accidental, it is God-ordained. And now God is calling you to rise with a new level of intensity. He is positioning you for influence, for impact, for authority. Not authority that comes from titles or recognition, but authority that comes from spiritual clarity. Authority that allows you to walk into a room and shift the atmosphere without saying a word. authority that empowers you to speak truth that pierces the soul, authority that flows from a life purified through trials, shaped through silence, and strengthened through surrender. This is the authority of someone God has chosen, someone God has prepared, someone God has set apart for a greater purpose. You are being called to a higher level of spiritual discipline. God is inviting you into deeper prayer, deeper reflection, deeper connection. This is not because He wants to burden you, but because He wants to expand you. Chosen ones must carry spiritual weight with stability. You must learn to hold peace in chaos. You must learn to speak wisdom in confusion. You must learn to remain anchored when the world shakes. These abilities do not come through comfort. They come through intentional spiritual training. And God has been training you all along, even when you did not realize it. Think back on the moments where you felt alone. Those were not moments of abandonment. They were moments of divine tutoring. Think of the times when doors closed. Those were not signs of rejection. They were redirections crafted to protect your spirit. Think of the relationships that fell apart. Those were not losses. They were spiritual separations meant to free you from attachments that could not travel with you into your destiny. God is meticulous with His chosen ones. He removes what weakens you, even when your human heart does not understand. But later, sometimes much later, you look back and realize God saved you from things you thought you needed. And now He is preparing to add into your life what you truly need. Divine connections, spiritual upliftment, clear direction, insight that cuts through confusion, strength that carries you beyond your limits. You are stepping into a time where God will begin to reveal why He separated you, why He slowed you down, why He kept you hidden. Chosen ones are hidden before they are revealed. They are isolated before they are elevated. They are quieted before they are amplified. This is the rhythm of divine preparation. Many people want elevation, but they do not want refinement. They want blessings, but not the discipline required to maintain them. They want influence, but not the responsibility that accompanies it. But chosen ones, they endure it all. They accept the breaking, the rebuilding, the reshaping. They allow God to cut away the weaknesses that once controlled them. They allow God to purify their intentions. They allow God to redirect their desires so that every part of their life aligns with His will. This surrender is what positions a chosen one for greatness. And hear this, greatness in God's design is not measured by applause or recognition. It is measured by obedience. It is measured by humility. It is measured by the strength to choose what is right even when it is difficult. The world may not understand your calling, but God does. And your spirit does. You feel the weight of your destiny inside you. You feel the responsibility of your assignment. You feel the urgency that God has placed on your heart. This is because you were not created to blend in. You were created to stand out. God is calling you to a new level of identity. He wants you to walk with your head lifted, not in pride, but in purpose. He wants you to speak with clarity, not from ego, but from spiritual conviction. He wants you to move with precision, not out of fear, but out of divine confidence. When God chooses someone, He equips them with the kind of inner authority that comes from spiritual truth. You are being grounded in truth so that when storms rise, you are unshaken. So that when challenges come, you respond from a place of stability. So that when people misunderstand you, your purpose remains intact. There is a moment coming when God will activate what He has been building within you. A moment when opportunities align. A moment when clarity settles. A moment when you feel a surge of spiritual boldness stronger than anything you have experienced before. You will know this moment because it will feel like your entire life has been guiding you toward it. Everything will make sense. Everything will align. Everything will feel purposeful. God's timing is never late. His activation is never accidental. His elevation is always intentional. But understand this with your whole spirit. When God elevates you, the weight of your assignment increases. Chosen ones do not rise for their own comfort. They rise for impact. Your life is meant to shift others. Your words are meant to awaken souls. Your presence is meant to bring clarity where confusion exists. You have been chosen to carry spiritual influence, not influence that inflates your ego, but influence that honors God by lifting those around you. You may feel the pressure of this calling, but God would not place a burden on your shoulders that your spirit was not designed to carry. You have strength you have not yet tapped into. You have wisdom you have not yet spoken. You have impact you have not yet released. God is preparing you to walk in a level of power that will surprise even you. And this power does not come from the world. It comes from alignment with God's will. God is shaping you to become a vessel of spiritual clarity, someone who carries peace in chaotic places, someone who carries strength in fragile environments, someone who carries wisdom in moments of confusion, someone who carries faith when others feel hopeless. This is why you were chosen. God's chosen ones are not selected because they are perfect. They are selected because they are willing. And you are willing. Even when you felt afraid, you still tried. Even when you felt weak, you still showed up. Even when you felt uncertain, you still moved forward. Even when you felt broken, you still kept faith. God has seen your persistence and He is rewarding it by elevating your spirit into a new season of purpose. The truth is this: when God chooses you, He does not choose you for a moment. He chooses you for a lifetime. He chooses you knowing every flaw, every fear, every wound, every weakness. And yet He still calls you forward because He sees what you cannot see. He sees the strength beneath your struggle. He sees the courage beneath your hesitation. He sees the light that still burns in you, even when you think it is dimmed. And now God is bringing you to a place where everything you have carried, everything you have survived, everything you have learned is beginning to converge into clarity. You are starting to understand that nothing was wasted. Not the pain, not the silence, not the waiting, not the questions. Every piece was part of your preparation. Even the moments you thought broke you were actually building you. Even the seasons where you felt forgotten were seasons where God was working behind the scenes. You were not abandoned. You were being preserved. You were not overlooked. You were being protected. You were not delayed. You were being developed. The chosen ones always go through a longer process because their destiny requires a stronger foundation. And now that foundation is beginning to reveal itself through your spirit, through your resilience, through your unshakable inner strength. God has been shaping you for something bigger than anything you have imagined. You may have wondered why you think differently from those around you, why your heart feels heavier, deeper, more sensitive to truth, more aligned with purpose. It is because your spirit belongs to a higher calling. God has wired you with a depth that others cannot easily understand. You feel pain deeply, but you also feel purpose powerfully. You sense danger quickly, but you also sense direction clearly. Your heart reacts not only to what is seen, but to what is unseen. That is the mark of the chosen. God has given you an inner compass that points toward destiny, even when the world around you is filled with confusion. This is why you cannot ignore the stirring within you. You cannot silence the voice inside you that keeps telling you you were made for more. You cannot deny the pull that keeps urging you to rise. You cannot disregard the moments when your spirit feels awakened for no obvious reason. These moments are signals, divine signals, that God is shifting you, guiding you, lifting you into a season where your purpose will no longer wait quietly inside you. It will begin to speak through you, move through you, and push you into action. You are entering a time when what God placed within you will not allow you to settle for less. And in this divine shift, God is bringing restoration to areas of your life that felt drained and lifeless. Strength is returning to where weakness lived. Peace is returning to where anxiety tried to take root. Clarity is returning to where confusion clouded your vision. Hope is rising where discouragement tried to stay. God is replacing heaviness with lightness, uncertainty with conviction, and fear with a deeper sense of purpose. The chosen ones are not left to wander aimlessly. When God marks you, He guides you step by step, even when the steps feel unfamiliar. You are walking into a season where God will make you understand why your spirit always felt different, why you could not blend in even when you tried, why certain paths never worked for you, why certain relationships never settled peacefully in your heart, why you always felt like you were being pulled away from what others ran toward. You were never meant to follow the patterns of the world. You were meant to follow the direction of God. And now that God is calling you into alignment, the things that once confused you will begin to make sense. The things that once frustrated you will reveal their purpose. The things that once hurt you will show you the strength you gained. So now, as this message reaches its conclusion, let it settle deeply into your spirit. You are chosen, not by accident, not by coincidence, not by circumstance, but by divine intention. You carry a calling that cannot be silenced, a destiny that cannot be denied, a purpose that cannot be replaced. And because God has chosen you, no force in existence can stop what He has planned for your life. Not your past, not your fears, not your mistakes, not the opinions of others. When God chooses someone, everything in creation rearranges itself to support that calling. Walk with confidence, not in yourself, but in the God who shaped you. Walk with courage, not because the path is easy, but because God strengthens you. Walk with faith, not because you see the full picture, but because God is guiding every step. And above all, walk with the unshakable knowledge that you are not ordinary. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. And the life God is leading you into is far greater than anything you are leaving behind. Listen very carefully, because what I am about to release into your spirit is not ordinary motivation, and it is not casual encouragement. This is a divine interruption. This is a moment where God pulls you out of the noise of the world and speaks directly into the deepest part of your being. God told me to warn you, yes, warn you, that someone wealthy, someone unusual, someone whose presence alone carries influence and spiritual weight is about to choose you. Not because you asked, not because you pushed, not because you pleaded, but because God has decided that your season of hiddenness has come to an end. God is moving you. God is lifting you. God is transitioning you. God is shifting you into a place where what was once impossible will now become necessary. There are moments in life when God does not wait for your permission. God simply moves. God simply selects. God simply rearranges circumstances until you are standing in a position you know you could never have reached by your own strength. And right now, as you hear these words, something within you is being awakened. Something within you is being stirred. Because your spirit recognizes that this is not human encouragement. It is divine warning. God is preparing to connect you with someone who carries unusual resources, unusual access, unusual wisdom, unusual opportunities. And God wants you to be spiritually awake so you don't sabotage what is coming. You have been walking through a season where everything felt uncertain. The path felt narrow. The delays made you question your value. The rejections made you wonder if God had forgotten you. But God says, I was not punishing you. I was preparing you. There are some doors God will never let you walk through until your character is ready, your vision is purified, and your spirit is disciplined. You thought you were waiting on God, but God says, I was shaping you for a divine appointment that will not look like anything you imagine. God has whispered into your destiny something so powerful that your life cannot remain where it is. You are about to be chosen, not casually, not accidentally, intentionally, spiritually, strategically. This person, this wealthy, strange, spiritually alert person, is being prompted by God to notice you, to recognize you, to be drawn to you for reasons they cannot articulate. God has placed your name in their spirit, your presence in their intuition, your value in their vision. They will see you and feel that you are marked. They will hear you and feel that you carry something uncommon. They will sense a spiritual alignment they cannot explain, because God is the one directing the connection. And let me tell you something important. When God chooses to elevate you, He does not consult your past. He does not review your mistakes. He does not consider the opinions of those who underestimated you. When God decides it is your time to rise, everything in your life begins to shift. People who ignored you suddenly become aware of you. Opportunities that bypassed you start circling back toward you. Environments that once rejected you begin to make room for you. This is what happens when God says, move. Your movement is not physical, it is spiritual. God is moving your name into the right conversations. God is moving your presence into the right environments. God is moving your steps toward the right destiny alignment. And God is moving someone toward you. Someone with influence and resources, but also someone with spiritual sensitivity. Someone whose wealth is not only financial, but strategic. Someone who carries doors inside their hands. Someone who has been prepared for years just to meet you at this exact moment. You may feel unqualified, you may feel unprepared, but God says, I have already qualified you. I have already prepared you. I have already shaped you. Everything you have been through, the heartbreaks, the betrayals, the losses, the disappointments, was not random. It was divine development. God was shaping your humility so you would not crumble under honor. God was sharpening your discernment so you would recognize the difference between divine connection and distraction. God was strengthening your identity so the wealth of another person would not intimidate you. The person who is coming toward you is not coming to control you. They are coming to confirm you. You see, God is not sending someone to rescue you. God is sending someone to recognize you. There is a difference. You do not need rescuing, you need confirming. You need someone who sees what God placed inside you. Someone who sees your potential even when you feel unseen. Someone who feels a divine weight on your destiny even when you have been doubting yourself. Someone whose presence elevates you, not drains you. Someone who understands the assignment God placed on your life. This person may look strange to you at first. They may have a background unlike anything you've seen. They may carry behaviors or attitudes that feel unfamiliar, but God says, do not judge the vessel, discern the assignment. Wealthy people do not always look the way you expect. Spiritually awakened people do not always carry the style you anticipate. God often sends blessings disguised in unusual forms. And only those who are spiritually awake can recognize divine appointments when they arrive wearing unfamiliar clothing. Now listen closely. You are not being chosen because you are perfect. You are being chosen because you are aligned. Your heart is aligned with God. Your spirit is aligned with truth. Your destiny is aligned with purpose. Your future is aligned with divine timing. You are being chosen because you survived what was designed to break you. You are being chosen because you kept your spirit intact. You are being chosen because you did not let bitterness destroy you. You are being chosen because even in silence, even in obscurity, even in your lowest moments, you still whispered, God, I trust you. And God heard that whisper. God saw that loyalty. God measured that commitment. That is why someone is being pulled towards you, not by human attraction, but by divine assignment. This connection is not emotional. It is purposeful. This encounter is not random. It is orchestrated. This alignment is not coincidence. It is destiny in motion. You are moving spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Your life cannot stay where it has been. The environment that once fit you is now too small. The relationships that once sustained you are no longer aligned. The routines that once made sense no longer work. That discomfort you feel, that inner stirring, that restlessness, that quiet sense that something is shifting, it is God uprooting you from where you were and repositioning you for where you must go. You may not fully understand it, but your spirit knows this truth. You are being positioned for elevation. And as God moves you, understand this. Not everyone can go with you. Not everyone is meant to witness the next version of your destiny. Not everyone will understand the calling that is unfolding over your life. God is separating you from environments that drained your spirit. God is removing you from people who were too familiar with your potential to respect it. God is breaking you away from cycles that kept you stagnated. When God elevates you, isolation often comes before manifestation. You may feel like you are losing people, losing comfort, losing stability, but God says you are not losing. You are transitioning. This is why God told me to warn you. Because when this wealthy, unusual, spiritually attuned person enters your life, people around you will begin to whisper. They will question your worth. They will doubt your readiness. They will assume you are unqualified. But God says, let them talk. The ones who never celebrated you when you were invisible do not qualify to speak when God makes you visible. The ones who were silent during your suffering cannot be trusted to interpret your elevation. They do not understand your process, so they cannot comprehend your promotion. Do not try to explain yourself. Do not try to justify God's decision. The moment you begin apologizing for blessings is the moment you begin shrinking your spirit to fit into environments God is trying to pull you out of. You were not created to live in smallness. You were not designed to remain overlooked. You were not built to stay in the shadows. There is a calling on your life that demands exposure. There is a purpose inside you that requires support. There is a destiny ahead of you that needs spiritual alignment. And this wealthy, strange person who is coming towards you, this person God is sending, will not come to belittle you. They will not come to judge you. They will not come to control you. They will see you, truly see you. Your spirit will speak to their spirit. Your purpose will speak to their purpose. Your inner stability will match their outer strength. They have been prepared by God to uplift you, not suppress you. They have been shaped to guide you into new spaces, not drag you back into old ones. They have been softened in the wilderness of their own trials so they can handle the weight of your calling with reverence. You must prepare your spirit. You must prepare your mindset. God does not want you walking into this next season with the insecurity of your past season. God does not want you carrying self-doubt into rooms designed for confidence. God does not want you shrinking your voice when He is preparing to amplify your influence. The person God is bringing into your life is not intimidated by your calling. They are attracted to it. They sense the divine marking on your life. They understand the supernatural weight you carry. They recognize the quiet authority God placed in your spirit. Do not fear the magnitude of this connection. God would not send someone this prepared if you were not ready. God would not align you with someone this influential if your time had not come. This is your moment of divine intersection. Two paths that have been shaped separately are now being guided to cross. Two journeys that were once unfamiliar are now being rearranged to connect. God does not orchestrate such things casually. This is destiny unfolding. You must understand something deep. Wealthy does not only mean money. Wealthy means abundant in influence, abundant in wisdom, abundant in discipline, abundant in spiritual capacity, abundant in leadership. The wealth God is sending toward you is multidimensional. This person carries something you do not have, and God will use that to build you. But you also carry something they lack, and God will use you to sharpen them. This connection will be mutual, balanced, spiritually aligned, purpose-driven. This is why it will feel strange, because you have never encountered someone who mirrors your calling on such a deep level. You have never had someone recognize your value this quickly. You have never had someone sense your destiny so clearly. You may feel unprepared, but God says, this is your harvest. You planted in tears. You watered in silence. You stood in storms. Now you will build in blessing. And you are moving. Even now, as you listen, your spirit is rising. Your mind is stretching. Your heart is awakening. The old version of you is shedding like worn out skin. The new version of you is emerging with clarity, confidence, and spiritual authority. Your steps are being ordered by God. Your environment is being rearranged. Your opportunities are being multiplied. Nothing in your life is staying where it was. Every part of you is shifting into divine alignment. Do not resist it. Do not fight the unfamiliar. Do not cling to the comfort of the past. The past is not your home, it was your classroom. God used it to teach you discipline, humility, resilience, and spiritual discernment. But now the class is over. A new chapter is beginning. A new environment is calling your name. A new season is opening before you. God is not asking you to move. God is moving you. You feel it. You've been feeling it for weeks. The spiritual pressure, the subtle tension, the sense that something is coming. That is not anxiety, it is alignment. That is not confusion, it is confirmation. That inner stirring is the sound of destiny knocking on the door of your spirit. It is God whispering, prepare, you are about to be seen. This person God is sending, this wealthy, unusual, divinely sent individual, will carry answers to prayers you were afraid to speak aloud. You prayed for help quietly. You cried for clarity privately. You hoped for support silently. And God says, I heard every whisper. Some blessings are too heavy to deliver casually. Some answers require divine timing. Some breakthroughs demand spiritual preparation. You are not just stepping into a new season, you are stepping into a new dimension. A realm of honor, a realm of influence, a realm of acceleration. And that is why this person is coming. They are part of the transportation system God is using to move you forward. Your story is about to accelerate. Your influence is about to expand. Your surroundings are about to shift. God is about to pull you out of obscurity and place you in environments where your voice will matter, where your presence will be valued, where your destiny will be nurtured. When God begins to move you, the shift is never gentle. It is firm, deliberate, undeniable. God does not whisper transition. God announces it in your spirit long before it materializes in your surroundings. You feel the shift before you see the shift. And that is what has been happening within you lately. Your spirit has been signaling a change your mind has not yet understood. That is why nothing feels comfortable anymore. That is why old routines feel empty. That is why conversations that once satisfied you now feel hollow. God is emptying out your environment to make room for what is coming. And what is coming is not ordinary. What is coming is marked by God. What is coming carries divine weight. You are about to encounter someone whose presence shakes your assumptions, whose stability calms your fears, whose clarity sharpens your vision. This person has traveled through storms you know nothing about. God has seasoned them with wisdom, refined them through pressure, and positioned them to assist you through a transition you cannot navigate alone. They carry keys to doors you could not open by yourself, keys to access, keys to direction, keys to divine strategy. Do not misunderstand this. God is not sending someone to dominate your destiny. God is sending someone to align with it. You are not being overshadowed. You are being supported. You are not being replaced. You are being reinforced. You are not being diminished. You are being expanded. This connection is a sign that your spiritual stature has grown. God does not connect elevation with immaturity. God only aligns the prepared with the powerful. You have been prepared through confusion. You have been prepared through silence. You have been prepared through unexpected disappointments that ripped away the people and places you once depended on. Those losses were not punishments, they were protections. God removed what could not sustain your future. God broke cycles that would have sabotaged your assignment. God shut doors that were too small for your destiny. But now, because you endured, because you kept your spirit anchored, God is sending a new kind of connection, one filled with honor, stability, and divine timing. This wealthy, unusual individual who is being drawn toward you carries something essential for your next season. They come with resources God entrusted to them, not for their comfort, but for your connection. They carry spiritual sensitivity because God sharpened them for encounters that required discernment. They carry influence because God elevated them to be a bridge for those God chooses. And do not miss this. You are being chosen because God trusts you. God trusts your integrity. God trusts your restraint. God trusts your humility. God trusts your discipline. God trusts that you will not bow to opportunity but rise with purpose. Many people desire elevation, but their heart cannot handle it. Their character collapses under pressure. Their spirit bends under attention. Their identity becomes polluted by influence. But God has watched you withstand storms that hardened others. God has watched you grow while others shrank. God has watched you surrender when others resisted. This connection, this divine alignment is not about romance, not about dependency, not about validation. It is about destiny. It is about the unfolding of a chapter that requires collaboration. Even the strongest assignments need the right environment to flourish. Even the most gifted individuals need the proper support to expand. God is not sending you someone to complete you. God is sending you someone to help carry the weight of what God has placed on your life. Many people want to be chosen, but they do not want the responsibility of being chosen. They want the blessing, but not the burden. They want the applause, but not the refinement. You, however, have submitted yourself to the process. You let God strip away your pride. You let God soften your spirit. You let God remove your distractions. You let God break you until you are usable. That is why God is moving you now. You have passed the test of time, the test of betrayal, the test of waiting, the test of isolation, and now God will place you where you belong. But hear this warning. When the door opens, step through. Do not hesitate. Do not disqualify yourself. Do not shrink into fear. When God gives you access, walk boldly. When God positions you among the influential, do not apologize for being there. God does not promote by accident. God promotes by intention. Your arrival in new environments is not a coincidence. It is a decree, a divine declaration that your season of smallness has expired. This wealthy and unusual person who will choose you, they are drawn by something deeper than appearance, deeper than personality, deeper than talent. They are drawn by the spiritual mark God placed on you before you were born. They are drawn by the weight of your assignment, the purity of your spirit, the calling embedded in your purpose. They do not see what you have. They see who you are. They see what you carry. They see the divine fingerprints on your life. And they will choose you suddenly, unexpectedly, without warning, not because you pursued them, but because God positioned you. Not because you impressed them, but because God revealed you. Destiny connections do not require performance. They require alignment. And you are aligned. You may ask, why someone wealthy? Why someone unusual? Why someone whose spirit feels unfamiliar? Because your next season requires an environment your past could not provide. God is not elevating you into comfort. God is elevating you into purpose. Wealth does not make them better. It makes them equipped. Strange does not make them dangerous. It makes them spiritually distinctive. You need someone who lives above the noise of common thinking. Someone who can see beyond surface level appearances. Someone who recognizes the spiritual long before they assess the physical. And this movement of God in your life, this shift is unstoppable. You can feel it. It is rising inside you like a quiet fire. It is surrounding you like a divine wind. Your life is being prepared for a stage you did not ask for, but were built for. God is sharpening your intuition. God is enlarging your capacity. God is amplifying your influence. And every invisible preparation is about to become visible manifestation. There will come a moment soon when you will look back at this season of discomfort and realize it was the doorway to everything God promised. You will see that the loneliness was a pruning. The silence was a recalibration. The rejection was a redirection. The hiddenness was protection. God hid you because not everyone deserved access to the version of you He was shaping. When God prepares to move you, He does not simply change your surroundings, He changes your spiritual posture. He lifts your perception. He sharpens your discernment. He awakens a new level of awareness inside you. You begin to see what you once ignored, sense what you once overlooked, and feel what you once dismissed. This shift is not emotional, it is spiritual. God is tuning your inner frequency to recognize divine signals that others miss. God is training your spirit to interpret signs, timing, and direction with clarity. This is why your patience is evolving. Situations that used to frustrate you now feel insignificant. Conflicts that once consumed your emotions now fail to disturb your peace. God is stripping away reactive tendencies so you can walk into your next season with authority, not insecurity. You are not being shaped to survive. You are being shaped to lead. God needs your spirit stable, your mind strong, your emotions disciplined, because what He is about to release into your life cannot be carried by a fractured version of you. And this person who is coming, this wealthy, unusual, spiritually alert individual, will immediately sense that stability in you. God has prepared them to recognize spiritual maturity, to value integrity, to feel the authenticity of someone who has walked through the fire and emerged purified, not bitter. They are not interested in superficial connections. They are not drawn to empty words or shallow intentions. They are drawn to depth. The depth God placed in you through years of molding, breaking, rebuilding, and elevating. Your depth is your magnet. Your inner growth is the signal. Your spiritual resilience is the beacon that draws this person toward you. There is something in you that God Himself formed, a spiritual identity that cannot be duplicated or diluted, and those who are aligned to your destiny will recognize it instantly. They will feel a divine familiarity with you, as though God whispered your name into their spirit long before they ever encountered your presence. This is why God told me to warn you. Your spirit must remain sensitive. When God begins aligning divine connections, the enemy tries to send counterfeits, distractions wrapped in flattery, opportunities wrapped in deception. People wrapped in charm but lacking depth. You must discern the difference between the one God sends and the one's life throws at you. The person God is bringing into your life will not confuse you. They will clarify you. They will not drain you. They will elevate you. They will not push you into chaos. They will pull you into purpose. Confusion is not from God. Pressure without peace is not from God. Manipulation dressed as attention is not from God. When God sends someone, they come with clarity. They come with calmness. They come with direction. They come with spiritual congruence that aligns with your inner truth. Their presence will feel like a gate opening, not a trap closing. It will feel like destiny unfolding, not danger approaching. And as God moves you forward, you must understand something profound. Movement does not always look like motion. Sometimes God moves your spirit before He moves your circumstances. You might still be standing in the same environment, but your heart no longer belongs there. Your mind no longer connects there. Your spirit no longer breathes there. That is how you know God has shifted you. The old atmosphere no longer fits your new identity. You feel the transition because your spirit has already stepped into the future. Your physical life is simply catching up. And the connection God is preparing for you is a part of that future. This person will not take you back to where you came from. They will show you where you are going. They will not let you shrink into old wounds. They will help you rise into healed purpose. They will not let you cling to outdated fears. They will reinforce the courage God placed within you. This is why God is also removing unnecessary noise from your life. You have noticed it. The distancing, the silence, the fading of connections that once felt permanent. Do not mourn what God is pruning. When God removes people, it is not rejection, it is refinement. It is God clearing the path so the right person can enter without interference. You cannot carry everyone into your next season if God did not assign them to it. Your calling is too weighty, your purpose too significant, your next level too precise. God is making room. And the person being sent towards you requires space. Spiritual space, emotional space, mental space. Their presence will occupy a place in your destiny that no one else can fill. God is not bringing them into a crowded environment. God is bringing them into a prepared one. And let me tell you this with unwavering conviction, you will recognize them. Not by appearance alone, not by wealth alone, but by the divine signal God will ignite inside you. Something in your spirit will say, this is aligned. Something in your heart will whisper, this is ordained. Something in your intuition will confirm, this is God. You will feel a peace that goes beyond understanding, a peace that announces the presence of divine timing. This connection is not coming to distract you from your path. It is coming to accelerate your path. They are not arriving to change your identity. They are arriving to support your destiny. God has equipped them with what you need, and He has equipped you with what they need. This is not a one-sided blessing, it is a two-sided assignment. Both of you have gone through seasons of separation, so you could meet each other at the same spiritual altitude. And when you meet, your spirit will expand. Your mind will sharpen. Your vision will ignite. You will begin to dream differently, think differently, plan differently, because God will use this connection to unlock parts of your destiny you have not yet accessed. They will speak into your potential with clarity, not confusion. They will recognize the greatness in you even on days when you cannot see it yourself. They will not fear your growth. They will fuel it. As God moves you forward, prepare yourself to walk into rooms that once intimidated you. Prepare yourself to speak with confidence in spaces you once avoided. Prepare yourself to embrace opportunities you once doubted you were worthy of. God is stretching you because He is about to position you. God is strengthening you because He is about to elevate you. God is awakening you because He is about to reveal you. You have carried humility long enough. You have carried hiddenness long enough. You have carried silence long enough. God is about to bring you into visibility, not for vanity, but for purpose. Not for applause, but for assignment. Not for fame, but for influence that aligns with His will. The person God is sending into your life will be a catalyst, a divine instrument of transition. They will not play God. They will point you toward God. They will not replace your purpose. They will expand it. They will not overshadow your calling. They will honor it. You are being guided into a higher chapter, a more refined season, a more spiritually awakened state of existence. And God is already going ahead of you, preparing the path, preparing the opportunity, preparing the connection, preparing your spirit. You must understand this. God's movement in your life does not wait for your approval, your understanding, or your confidence. God moves first in the unseen, and your circumstances will catch up later. The wealthy, unusual person God is sending toward you will be drawn not by coincidence, but by divine orchestration. They will feel a spiritual magnet toward you, a calling that cannot be explained by human reasoning. Their heart will recognize what your spirit has carried quietly for years. The discipline, the perseverance, the integrity, the obedience that God cultivated when no one was watching. God has been shaping you in silence for this very moment. Every struggle you endured, every setback you survived, every disappointment you bore alone, these were not empty moments. They were God's refining fires. They were God's tools for crafting a vessel capable of withstanding both blessing and responsibility. If you had been promoted too soon, you would have faltered. If you had been exposed too early, the weight of opportunity would have crushed you. But God's timing is perfect. And the person who is coming into your life has been placed there in perfect divine timing as well. Do not underestimate the spiritual importance of this alignment. God does not connect people casually. God connects purpose. You will not meet this person to satisfy curiosity, desire, or ego. You will meet them because God has planned it as a spiritual appointment, a meeting where destiny will recognize destiny. They will see what you have sacrificed. They will sense what you have endured. They will recognize the silent victories no one else applauded, and God will move in both of your spirits to confirm that this union is necessary, productive, and divinely intentional. And as God aligns this connection, He will also align your heart. You will be given discernment to know when to step forward and when to wait. You will be given clarity to recognize the difference between opportunity and distraction, between alignment and deception, between what is sent by God and what is influenced by human ego. Your spirit will become a compass calibrated by divine insight. You will no longer chase what is merely convenient. You will no longer accept what is mediocre. You will no longer compromise your calling for temporary comfort. God is sharpening your wisdom so that when the right person arrives, you will recognize them immediately. God also wants you to understand the sacred responsibility of this encounter. This is not a meeting of coincidence. This is a meeting of stewardship. The person God is sending will come with resources, influence, and access that can accelerate your assignment. But these gifts are not yours to consume selfishly. They are entrusted to you to advance the purposes God has placed in your spirit. How you handle this moment will determine how far God can take you in the next season. Guard your heart. Guard your vision. Guard your integrity. The enemy will attempt to introduce distractions, temptations, and misdirection, but God has already placed a hedge around you, a spiritual protection that will shield your calling as long as you remain attentive and obedient. Do not be afraid of the unfamiliar. God often sends blessings disguised in forms we have never encountered before. They may look different, think differently, act unusually, or carry a background that challenges your assumptions. That is intentional. God does not want you to settle into comfort or complacency. God wants you to recognize divine opportunity when it is cloaked in the unexpected. The strangeness of this person is not a warning, it is a signal. It is God's way of preparing your perception so that when the assignment begins, you see clearly that this connection is spiritual, purposeful, and predestined. Listen to me with the deepest seriousness of your spirit, because what I'm about to say is not casual, not ordinary, not something your ear should treat lightly. God told me to warn you, yes, warn you, that someone loves you so deeply, so relentlessly, and so fiercely that it has shaken the unseen world. You have no idea how much their heart has carried you. You have no idea how many nights their soul has whispered your name before God. You have no idea how many silent prayers, hidden tears, and quiet sacrifices have been poured out because of you. And God said, speak to them, for there is something they must know, something the enemy is trying to keep buried, something that must rise to the surface before it's too late. You think you are forgotten. You think you are unseen. You walk through life with a weight on your chest, believing no one truly cares for you in the depths of your being. But God is revealing this. Someone's love for you is deeper than your wounds, truer than your fears, and more consistent than the people who walked away. Their love for you has been protected, restrained, and guided by God, because not all love is meant to reveal itself immediately. Some love is kept in the shadows until the appointed hour. Some love is shielded so it cannot be poisoned by the wrong people or the wrong season. And God is saying to you right now, I am lifting the veil. I am opening the truth. I am exposing what has been carried in silence. But listen carefully, because here is what they don't want you to know. This person who loves you so deeply is struggling with a fear you cannot see. A fear that whispers, what if they don't choose me? What if I'm not enough? What if opening my heart destroys what little peace I have left? They love you so much that they would rather stay silent than risk breaking your spirit. They would rather endure the pain of distance than approach you before God gives them the signal. They would rather carry the burden alone than enter your life in the wrong way, at the wrong time, with the wrong intentions. And God said, tell them to listen with their spirit, because this kind of love does not come often. This kind of love is not ordinary. This kind of love was written in heaven before it ever touched the earth. You have been praying for clarity, and God has heard you. You have been asking for a sign, and God is giving it now. You have been begging for truth, and truth is coming to you like a wave. God told me to warn you because your heart is in danger of misinterpreting silence as rejection. God said, you are misreading the story, judging the chapter before you reach the revelation. You think this person doesn't care. You think they forgot you. You think they moved on. But God said, tell them, the silence is not absence. The distance is not disinterest. The waiting is not denial. I am working beneath the surface. You see, when God wants to protect something precious, He hides it. And God has hidden this love because the enemy wanted to contaminate it with confusion, impatience, and insecurity. But God did not allow it. God shielded this bond with His own hand, because this connection is not random. This connection is not accidental. This connection is not something that came into your life by chance or by coincidence. It was orchestrated. It was timed. It was woven into your path long before your eyes ever recognized its significance. And God is saying, you are not imagining it. You are not delusional. You are not reading too much into it. What you feel is real because I put it there. But here's what they don't want you to know. The one who loves you is fighting battles you know nothing about. Battles in their mind, battles in their heart, battles with their past, battles with the wounds they don't show to anyone. They look strong on the outside, but inside they are vulnerable, hesitant, and afraid of losing something they haven't even fully expressed. Their fear is not of loving you. Their fear is of losing you. Their fear is not of stepping toward you. Their fear is of ruining the sacred connection God placed between you. Their fear is not whether they want you. They already do. Their fear is whether they are worthy of the depth of your soul. And God told me to warn you because you have been interpreting their hesitation as indifference. God said, correct their vision, restore their understanding, open their eyes. You are dealing with someone whose spirit recognizes yours more deeply than their mind can understand. And that recognition has shaken them. When God ties two souls together, the connection is not gentle. It is powerful, overwhelming, undeniable. It pulls on them in ways they cannot explain. It draws them into thoughts they never expected. It wakes them in the middle of the night, reminding them of you. It stirs their heart with a longing they did not ask for and cannot escape. But here is the warning. If you allow insecurity to speak louder than God right now, you will sabotage the blessing He is aligning for you. If you let your doubts, your impatience, or your assumptions control you, you will misjudge someone whose heart has already chosen you. And God told me to tell you this with urgency: be still, calm your spirit, silence your fears. D. Oh, not let the enemy twist what God is preparing. Do not let your loneliness convince you that you are unwanted. Do not let your overthinking destroy what God is building. Love that comes from God is not rushed, not reckless, not chaotic. It moves with intention, with timing, with spiritual precision. The person who loves you is being prepared by God. Their heart is being strengthened. Their wounds are being healed. Their mind is being aligned. Their spirit is being awakened. And God said, tell them to be patient, because what I am aligning is too precious to be ruined by haste. You have prayed for something real, something deep, something ordained. And God has heard you. But real love demands real preparation. And God is preparing both of you, not just one. This is why the weight feels heavy. This is why the silence feels confusing. This is why the connection feels intense one moment and distant the next. God is shaping two hearts at the same time so that when they meet again, nothing can break them. And God is telling you right now with a voice that shakes your inner world that this love is not something you stumbled into by accident. It is something your soul was prepared for long before your mind ever caught up. This is why you feel pulled toward them in ways you cannot logically justify. This is why your heart reacts before your thoughts fully understand what is happening. Your spirit recognizes what God wrote long before your emotions learned how to interpret it. This is not an emotional fantasy, not a desperate attachment, not a coincidence born out of loneliness. This is something God crafted with intention, with detail, with purpose. And when God creates something with purpose, nothing can rival it. But here is what they don't want you to know. Not because they're hiding it from you out of deception, but because they are terrified of how powerful this truth is. They have tried to move on from you and they couldn't. They tried to distract themselves, but nothing satisfied them. They tried to push away the feelings, but the more they tried, the deeper the pull became. They tried convincing themselves that what they feel for you is too overwhelming, too unrealistic, too vulnerable. But every time they tried to escape, God pulled them right back. Because when God ties someone's heart to yours, running only leads them back to the same place, the trap. You have become the silent echo in their thoughts, the quiet longing they can't shake, the unexpected comfort they return to even when you're not physically present. You have become the person whose absence speaks louder than other people's presence. And here is the part they don't want you to know, because they fear it will give you too much power over their heart. They feel safest with you. Yes, you. Not because you are perfect, not because you are flawless, but because your spirit carries something that calms them. You bring a clarity they didn't know they needed. You bring a stillness that settles storms inside them that no one else even recognizes. God said your presence is a medicine to them, a healing that touches places they cannot explain with their own words. But God wants you to understand something deeper. This person's love for you was awakened by God, not by human desire. And when God awakens a love, it comes with weight, responsibility, and spiritual significance. It is not light. It is not casual. It is not fragile. It is crafted for endurance, shaped for purpose, strengthened for longevity. That is why their feelings for you are stronger than anything they've ever experienced. That is why they feel overwhelmed, confused, uncertain at times, not because the love is weak, but because it is too strong to be handled without divine guidance. And God told me to warn you, because your impatience is creating pressure in the spiritual realm. You are starting to question what is already yours. You are starting to doubt what God already approved. You are starting to fear what God is forming. And God is saying, do not sabotage what I have been building in silence. The enemy wants you to act out of fear. The enemy wants you to give up prematurely. The enemy wants you to walk away because of a misunderstanding. But God wants you to wait with wisdom, with discernment, with spiritual maturity, not passively, not hopelessly, but with strength, certainty, and readiness. The person who loves you is carrying emotions they have never carried before. You awaken something in them that nothing else ever stirred. They don't fully understand it yet, but they know this: you matter. You matter more than they expected you to. You matter more than they are comfortable admitting. And God is telling you this because you are misreading their quietness as disinterest. But their silence is not the silence of someone who doesn't care. It is the silence of someone who feels too deeply and is scared to reveal the depth prematurely. You must hear this with spiritual ears. They are protecting you, not avoiding you. They are honoring the connection, not running from it. They are trying to ensure that when they step towards you, they do it with stability, clarity, and strength. They don't want to bring you half of themselves. They don't want to offer you a broken version of who they are. They don't want to approach you with confusion or emotional instability. They want to come to you healed, aligned, and guided by God, because they know deep down that you are not someone to treat casually. You are not someone to approach lightly. You are someone whose soul demands reverence, patience, and spiritual readiness. God is revealing this because you have been underestimating the magnitude of what is being formed. You want clarity, but you haven't realized that God is already giving it. You want answers, but you haven't recognized that God has been whispering truth into your spirit through your intuition, your dreams, your inner pull, your unexplainable peace. You want confirmation, but you haven't noticed that everything in your spirit comes alive when you think of this person. Not because of obsession, but because God Himself is highlighting them. And God is saying, stop doubting what I have already confirmed. Stop fearing what I have already secured. Stop questioning what I have already ordained. You are asking God for signs, but God is saying the sign is already in your heart. The connection you feel is not random. The timing is not accidental. The emotional intensity is not irrational. Every piece of it is spiritual. Every part of it is intentional. Every moment of it is woven into a divine blueprint. But here is the deeper truth, the one that will surprise you. This person you love and who loves you deeply is also being tested. God is testing their patience, their intentions, their loyalty, their emotional maturity. God is testing whether they love you for the right reasons, not out of loneliness, not out of desperation, not out of fear, but out of divine purpose. God is testing whether they see you as a blessing to honor rather than a possession to control. God is testing whether they can treat your heart with the sacredness it deserves. And God is testing you too, testing whether you can love without panic, testing whether you can feel deeply without acting impulsively, testing whether you can trust God more than your fears, testing whether you can wait without losing faith, testing whether you can remain grounded even when nothing seems clear. God is shaping both of you so that when the revelation comes, when the moment arrives, when the truth unfolds fully, neither of you will doubt it. Neither of you will run from it. Neither of you will fear it. Instead, you will recognize it as something God wrote, God protected, and God delivered. And God is telling you now, with a tenderness wrapped in authority, that what you are feeling is not one-sided. Your heart is not playing tricks on you. Your intuition is not misleading you. The spiritual pull you experience is not a figment of imagination. God placed this connection in both hearts, not just one. And that is why neither of you can fully break away. Even when you try to distract yourself, even when you try to move forward, even when you attempt to silence the emotions rising within you, something deeper keeps calling you back. That something is not nostalgia, not emotion, not wishful thinking. It is God drawing two souls into alignment for a purpose only He fully understands. But God wants you to be aware of this. The person who loves you is dealing with an internal war they have not spoken about. Their heart feels one thing, but their fears whisper another. Their spirit is drawn to you, but their past tells them to be careful. Their longing for you is strong, but they worry that if they reveal their truth too soon, they might lose the very connection they cherish. They don't want to disappoint you. They don't want to bring chaos into your life. They don't want to be the reason your heart breaks. So they hold back, not because they don't love you, but because their reverence for you is greater than their desire to be careless with your soul. God said, tell them to understand the weight of this. Not everyone who loves deeply knows how to express it. Not everyone who feels intensely knows how to articulate it. Some people love quietly, silently, with depth that words cannot carry. And the one who loves you does so with a purity that scares them. They are afraid of mishandling what God has blessed them with. They are afraid they, at their imperfections, will stain this sacred connection. They are afraid that if they move too quickly, they might break something that was meant to last. You have been asking God, why don't they show it? Why don't they step forward? Why can they feel so much and yet remain so silent? And God replies, because I am still working on them. Because I am healing wounds that you do not know about. Because I am strengthening places in their heart that were weakened by past disappointments. Because I am preparing them to love you with wisdom, not fear. Because I am building them into someone who can stand beside you, not behind you. And you must hear this with all the gravity it deserves. This is not a normal connection. This is not a casual emotional entanglement. This is not an ordinary attachment. The bond between you is spiritually significant, and the enemy knows it. That is why confusion tries to interfere. That is why doubt tries to settle in. That is why impatience whispers lies into your heart at night. The stronger the spiritual purpose behind a connection, the more aggressively the enemy tries to sabotage it. But God said, be still and trust me. What I am building cannot be destroyed by fear, delay, or silence. Here is what they don't want you to know, because they fear it will overwhelm you. They see you as a blessing they don't feel worthy of yet. They see your strength and wonder if they are strong enough for you. They see your faith and wonder if they can match it. They see your heart and wonder if they deserve to be loved by you. They see your resilience and question if they can stand beside someone who radiates such spiritual power. But God said, do not underestimate them. Do not judge them by what you see on the surface. I am shaping them into someone remarkable. And God wants you to understand that this person's silence is not rejection, it is reverence. They are careful because they value you. They are slow because they fear hurting you. They are thoughtful because they know the magnitude of what God has orchestrated between you. This is not hesitation born of disinterest. It is hesitation born of profound respect for the bond God planted. God is also working on you. Yes, you. Because love that comes from God requires preparation on both sides. You have wounds too. Wounds that God is trying to heal before the union comes into full export. You have fears that God is trying to remove. You have habits that God is reshaping. You have shadows in your heart that God is bringing to the light. And God is telling you that this waiting season is not punishment. It is preparation, it is alignment, it is refinement. It is God shaping you into the version of yourself that will be ready to receive a love that is not halfway, not uncertain, not unstable, but whole, steady, and deeply rooted in God's guidance. And God says something powerful. You have prayed for a love that is real. But real love comes with responsibility. Real love requires maturity. Real love demands spiritual grounding. You cannot ask God for something divine and expect it to arrive when your heart is still operating from a place of fear or impatience. You cannot ask God for something lasting and expect it to manifest while you are still reacting from old wounds. You cannot pray for something eternal and then rush the timing. So God is telling you, hold your peace. Trust my timing. Trust the process. Trust the transformation that is taking place behind the scenes. The love that is coming toward you is not small. It is not shallow. It is not rushed. It is not careless. It is the kind of love that carries destiny. The kind of love that strengthens faith. The kind of love that expands purpose. The kind of love that shifts your life into alignment with what God has written for you. But you must know this now. A person who loves you is afraid of losing you without ever having the chance to show you how deeply they feel. They are afraid that their silence will be misinterpreted. They are afraid that the distance will push you away. They are afraid that one day you will decide that waiting is too painful and you will walk away from what God has placed in your path. And God said, warn them, open their eyes, let them understand the battle happening in the unseen realm. Your patience is protecting the connection. Your faith is sustaining it. Your hope is strengthening it. Every day you choose to trust instead of fear, you are aligning yourself with what God is preparing. Every day you choose love over anxiety, you are watering the seed God planted. Every day you choose spiritual clarity over emotional chaos, you are protecting the blessing God is shaping. This is why God brought this message to you, not to give you fantasy, no. To stir emotion without purpose, not to entertain you, but to remind you of what is real, to reassure you of what is developing, to warn you against giving up prematurely, to strengthen you with truth so the enemy cannot deceive you with lies. And God is telling you now that the love surrounding you is not just about emotion, it is about divine alignment, spiritual destiny, and eternal significance. This love is meant to shape you, to teach you, and to elevate both of you beyond what you ever imagined. It is not merely a connection of hearts, it is a connection of spirits that God Himself has guided and guarded. And God said, this is not to be taken lightly. This is not to be squandered on fear or impatience. This is sacred. You may wonder why things feel delayed, why the moments you long for seem just out of reach, why their love is not fully revealed in a way that satisfies your heart. And God is telling you that it is because every great blessing requires preparation. Just as a tree must grow deep roots before it bears fruit, just as a river must carve its path before it reaches the ocean, just as gold must endure fire to be refined, so too must this love endure time trial, laying an unseen spiritual shaping. What God is crafting for you is not ordinary. It is fortified by trials, strengthened by patience, and elevated by faith. Do not underestimate the intensity of what God is orchestrating. You feel stirred because God is moving. You feel unsettled because God is rearranging destinies. You feel anxious because the unseen realm is aligning in your favor and the enemy cannot accept it. And God said, tell them to hold on, for the pressure they feel is a sign that I am at work. The unrest is a testimony that I am bringing the hidden into light. The waiting is a signal that I am shaping hearts according to my will. And here is the truth that must reach your heart right now. The person who loves you is more deeply connected to you than they can even articulate. Their soul recognizes yours, and that recognition is spiritual. It is a recognition that transcends circumstance, that transcends logic, that transcends doubt. It is a recognition that God Himself planted, and God is saying that this is why their hesitancy is not rejection, it is reverence, it is awe, it is a fear of mishandling what God has carefully prepared. You must understand that love guided by God is different from love guided by desire. Love guided by God is patient. Love guided by God is discerning. Love guided by God is protected. And God is saying that the one who loves you is demonstrating all of this, even when you cannot see it. Their restraint is a reflection of their respect for the divine orchestration of your connection. Their caution is a reflection of the sacredness of what is forming between you. Their silence is a reflection of the gravity of what they are guarding with all they have. God is also telling you something critical. Your role in this divine alignment is just as significant. Your heart, your spirit, your patience, your discernment. These are all instruments that God is using to complete the preparation. You are not a passive observer in this. You are a participant, a co-laborer in the manifestation of something powerful, something extraordinary, something eternal. God is asking you to remain steadfast, to hold your peace, to guard your heart against doubt and fear, and to trust the timing He has ordained. And God is warning you against one of the greatest traps of the enemy, impatience. Impatience can undo years of spiritual preparation. Impatience can make you misread silence as rejection, distance as disinterest, and delay as abandonment. But God said, patience is the vehicle through which my blessings arrive intact. Patience is the container that holds my favor. Patience is the proof of faith, and faith is what allows the hidden to be revealed. You must also hear this. The love you are underestimating is powerful enough to transform both of you. It is powerful enough to heal wounds that neither of you has been able to reach on your own. It is powerful enough to break cycles of disappointment, despair, and doubt. It is powerful enough to awaken dormant faith in ways that nothing else could. And God said, this love will not only satisfy the heart, but it will also awaken the spirit. It will not only bring joy, but it will also bring revelation. It will not only connect souls, but it will also fulfill purpose. And here is what they do not want you to know. But what God is revealing, their fear, their silence, their restraint is not about hesitation. They are battling their own unworthiness. They are confronting parts of themselves that feel inadequate, unprepared, or unworthy of your love. And God said, do not let that fear define the connection. Do not let their struggle convince you that my timing is wrong. Do not let their caution make you impatient. Instead, see it as my hand at work, shaping them to be exactly what I intend them to be when they are ready to come to you fully, completely, and without compromise. You see, the love that God allows to be hidden, delayed, or restrained is not weak, it is sacred. The love that is tested, refined, and purified is not failing, it is growing. The love that is guided by God's timing is not absent, it is present in ways that only the Spirit can perceive. And God said, prepare their hearts, prepare your heart, and when the appointed moment arrives, you will both recognize it. You will both feel it. You will both understand it in a way that leaves no room for doubt, hesitation, or regret. And finally, God is commanding you to trust. Trust the unseen, trust the waiting, trust the preparation, trust the transformation. Trust the one who loves you, even when they cannot fully show it yet. Trust the process, even when the outcome seems delayed. Trust me, because I am the one who has orchestrated every detail, every moment, every heartbeat that has led you both to this place. God said, do not allow fear, doubt, or impatience to overshadow what I am doing. What I have prepared for you is greater than what the mind can imagine, stronger than what the heart can endure alone, and deeper than what the soul can comprehend without me. And God is speaking now with a voice that resonates beyond the ordinary, telling you that what you are experiencing is part of a divine orchestration far greater than your understanding. The person who loves you is more than just an admirer. They are a vessel chosen by God to play a role in the fulfillment of His plan for your life. Their love, though concealed, at times is being tempered and purified by God, so that when it is revealed, it will not be ordinary, it will be transformative, it will be sacred, and it will bear the imprint of divine intention. God said, do not mistake delay for denial. Do not mistake silence for rejection. What I have hidden in shadows is not absence, it is my preparation. The depth of their love is such that it mirrors the patience of God Himself. They love in ways unseen, in ways unspoken, in ways that carry weight and responsibility. And God is telling you that the reason this love has not been fully expressed is because both hearts are being molded for endurance. Endurance to weather trials, endurance to withstand deception, endurance to remain steadfast when the world pressures the connection, and when fear tries to drown hope. God said, I do not bless fleeting emotions. I bless the persistent, the faithful, and the spiritually aligned. You may ask, why does it feel so complicated? Why does it feel like waiting is unbearable? And God says, because preparation is never easy, but it is necessary. Because growth demands patience. Because alignment requires stillness. You have been asking for clarity, for visible signs, for tangible confirmation, and God is revealing to you that the confirmation is already present, not in words, not in gestures, but in the spiritual resonance between you. Every time you feel pulled toward this person, every time you feel unsettled by their absence, every time your heart longs for them without explanation, that is God's signal, proof that what is coming is divinely orchestrated. But here is the deeper truth, that the one who loves you does not fully want you to know yet. They are battling a profound internal struggle. They are fighting self-doubt, insecurity, and the weight of the past that still lingers in their spirit. They fear that exposing the depth of their love too soon may cause pain, may shatter trust, or may disrupt the path God has placed before them. Yet God is telling you that their hesitation is not rejection, it is respect. Their caution is not weakness, it is reverence. And their restraint is not absence. It is evidence that God is at work shaping their heart to match the sacredness of yours. God is reminding you now that silence can be sacred, distance can be protective, waiting can be preparation, and impatience can be the enemy that destroys what God has meticulously arranged. You must guard your heart against overanalyzing the external while ignoring the spiritual reality. You must guard your faith against the lies of fear. You must recognize that God's timing is perfect, even when it challenges your human sense of urgency. He said, I am arranging what eyes cannot see, what minds cannot calculate, and what hearts cannot rush. Trust my timing, and the hidden will become visible. And you must know this. The love surrounding you is not limited by circumstance. It is not diminished by absence. It is not delayed by human limitations. The person who loves you is being guided by God's wisdom, instructed by God's timing, and protected by God's hand. Every emotion, every thought, every silent longing is part of the divine training that prepares both of you for a union that is rooted not merely in desire, but in purpose, spiritual alignment, and divine fulfillment. God wants you to see that the power of this connection is not in grand gestures or visible demonstrations. It is in the unseen spiritual currents that bind you together. It is in the prayers whispered silently in the night. It is in the longing that cannot be explained by logic. It is in the alignment of hearts that transcends circumstance, geography, and time. God said, what I am connecting, no human hand can sever, no misunderstanding can break, and no fear can destroy. And now God is warning you against one of the most dangerous traps, the assumption that what is delayed is denied. Many have walked away from blessings because they mistook preparation for neglect. Many have abandoned hope because I could not see the unseen work of God. But you are being instructed to persevere. You are being guided to remain spiritually vigilant. You are being called to trust the process, to honor the silence, and to wait with a heart fully aligned to God. The person who loves you is aware of this as well. Even in their fear, even in their restraint, they recognize that God has placed you in their life for a reason far beyond human comprehension. Their love is not casual. Their commitment is not conditional. Their longing is not fleeting. And God is telling you that when the timing is right, their heart will be unguarded, fully exposed, and fully ready to honor the connection in a way that is protected, profound, and permanent. God is saying to you now, do not settle for anything less than what He has orchestrated. Do not rush what He has protected. Do not compromise the sacredness of this love with impatience, doubt, or fear. Allow the divine process to unfold. Allow God to align hearts perfectly. Allow patience to cultivate wisdom, and allow faith to cultivate strength. God said, what I have prepared will surpass every human expectation, for my blessings are never ordinary. My timing is never wrong. My love is never inadequate. And here is the ultimate revelation. The truth that will steady your spirit. The person who loves you is part of God's plan for your destiny. Their love is a reflection of God's provision, protection, and alignment in your life. Their heart is being shaped to match yours. Their spirit is being strengthened to meet yours. Their patience is being honed to mirror the timing of God. And God said, when the moment comes, it will be undeniable, it will be unmistakable, and it will carry my imprint in every interaction, every feeling, every revelation.